welcome to Math with Jen. In this video, we are going to represent the product of two-digit numbers using arrays, area models, or equations, including perfect squares through 15 by 15. So first off, we are going to start with an area model. An area model is nice because it shows you how to multiply the value of each digit to each of the digits in the other number. For 24, the 2 is representing 20 and the 4 is representing 4 ones. This side of the area model, we're going to break up the 36 into 30 and 6. That is going to help you multiply using the partial products. Okay, because I have 0 in the ones place, and then 3 times 20 is 60, so that gives us the 600. 30 times 4 gives us 120. 6 times 20 gives us 120. And then 6 times 4 gives us 24. Now I can add these numbers together. 600 plus 120, that's going to give me 720. 120 plus 24 gives me 144. Could have done 600 plus 120 first if you wanted to and got 720. Then you could have done the 120 plus the 24 and got the 144. It doesn't matter which numbers you start adding together to begin with because addition is commutative. So I'm going to add these numbers and I get 864. So 24 times 36 is 864. To use an equation, we can kind of do what we did with the area model. We can go ahead and break these up into nicer numbers. 24 times 6 plus, because that 6 is being multiplied to everything, and then 24 times the 30. Okay, I can do it right in an equation of using partial products. 6 times 24, that's something we did in 3rd grade. So we would do 6 times 4 is 24, carry the 2, 6 times 2 is 12, plus the 2 is 144. Then we would add to it. We know multiplying by that 0 gives us 0 for the ones, and then we're going to multiply 3 to everything. 3 times 4 is 12, carry the 1, 3 times 2 is 6, plus the 1 is 720. Get those two numbers that we got when we were doing the area model, and then we would add these together. 4 ones plus 0 ones is 4. 4 tens plus 2 tens is 6 tens. 100 plus 700 is 800. We get the 864. So there's a lot of ways that you can multiply. You're going to learn about all of them with your teacher and with me. This way that you can multiply 2 digits by 2 digits is to go ahead and create an array. An array is very similar to an area model. You're going to go ahead and break it up into columns. So this would be 30 and 6. So you're going to break it up into columns and you're going to break it up into rows. So we have 20 times 30 is 600. 30 times 4 is 120. 6 times 20 is 120. 6 times 4 is 24. And then you can add your columns. And then you can add those two together. Get 864. The same thing. Okay, again, there's just a lot of ways you can multiply. They're very similar. It's just what visually looks better to you. The last method we're going to do is just the basic standard algorithm. So you're going to do 6 times everything. 6 times 4 is 24. You can only write down one digit, and then you have to carry the other. 6 times 2 is 12, plus the 2 is 14. 3 times 4. Again, we're starting with the 3, and that's in the tens place, so that's 30. So we need to put a 0 because there's not going to be any ones because that 3 is worth 30 already. So we're not going to get any ones. 3 times 4 is 12. I'm going to mark that out, carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus the 1 is 7. Add those together, keeping our place values aligned. 4 different ways, 4 different methods. You decide which one you like the best. Next thing we are going to talk about are perfect squares. I'm using a square just to kind of get that visual into your mind. You've learned last year that a square is where all the sides are equivalent to each other. So it doesn't matter which side I measure, they're all going to be equal to each other. Well, thinking about an area model for a perfect square number, we're going to say, okay, so this side is 8 and this side is 8. When you're having a perfect square, that number is the same. That number that you're multiplying to each other is the same. We would write that as 8 to the second power. Okay, this is read as 8 squared, which means that we are multiplying 8 times 8. So 64 would be the square of 8, because 8 times 8 is 64. For grade 4, you are required to know the perfect squares through 15. 1 squared through 15 squared is what you need to know for grade 4, and this will help you as you get further along in your other grades. So every grade is nice. It gives you a little bit more every grade level, but it's very important that you learn what you need to know at that grade level before moving on. 1 squared would be like having a square of 1 by 1. So last year, grade 3, you learned how to find the area of a square, which is 1 times 1 gives me 1. So 1 squared is equivalent to 1. 2 squared would be like having that square and multiplying it by itself. So 2 times 2. So we have 2 times 2, and that gives us 4. 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. 4 squared, 4 times 4, 16. 5 squared, 5 times 5, 25. 6 squared, 6 times 6, 36. And all of these you can do really fast, right? Because you have learned all your multiplication tables. And so as you can see, what you learned last year of your multiplication tables is helping you a lot right now in grade 4 with these perfect squares, because you have already learned your multiplication tables. This is super easy for you because you already know what all these products are. 1 squared through 12 squared should be super easy for you because in grade 3, you learned all these products. You've learned everything up until 144. So really, this should only be the new part for you in grade 4, is learning these squares. 13 squared is 169. And you can go ahead and work these out off to the side by yourself to see if I'm telling you the truth, which I am. So 15 times 15 is 225. These are really the new ones that you should be learning for grade 4, because you learned all of this in grade 3. You didn't know they were called perfect squares, but now you do. But that's just a vocabulary word now, and maybe the way you write it is new to you. But these products you learned last year, so that's helping you build to grade 4. Grade 4, these new perfect squares, you don't need to know all of the multiples of 13 or 14 or 15. For grade 4, you want to learn these 3 to help you in your future math classes. We can go ahead, let's do one of them together. 10 times 10 is 100. 10 times 5 is 50. 5 times 10 is 50. 5 times 5 is 25. I can add up the columns. I'm going to go ahead and put that over here. 150. Add up these. That's 75. Add those together, and we get that 225 that I told you about. So the arrays and the area models, those are going to help break these numbers a little bit more into friendlier factors that you know, but you could also do the standard algorithm if that works for you. So find out what works for you and use it and have fun. I thank you so much for joining me in this video. I hope that you learned something new, and I will see you next time. Bye. Thank you for staying on, and let's do 2 more examples together. I'm going to pause and then try them on your own and then come back. We'll go ahead and do it together. This one using the standard algorithm, and then the one on the right doing an array. A standard algorithm, you're just going to multiply the 2 ones by everything. 5 6 is 12, carry the 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus the 1 is 9. Going to put the 0 because the 6 is in the tens place, so we won't have any 1s. 6 times 6 is 36. Carry the 3. 6 times 4 is 24, plus the 3. is 27. We are going to add those together. 2 plus 0 is 2. 9 plus 6 is 15. Carry the 1. 1 plus 7 is 8. And then we have the 2. This one we are going to use an array, which looks very similar to an area model, but it's easier for me to draw. It's going to break up the 30 and the 6 to 36, and then I'm going to break up the 90 to 98. And then I'm going to go ahead and multiply these numbers. So it's 2,700. 90 times 6 is 540. 8 times 30 is 240. 8 times 6 is 48. And then I get to add all those numbers together. I'm going to go with the columns first. The column over here, the first one first, the one with the most digits, I'm going to put that first. And then the 588, so that I'm lining up my place values very neatly so that I don't get anything confused. So 8 plus 0 is 8, 4 plus 8 is 12, 9, 10, 15, carry the 1, and 3. So we have 3,528.